Happy Aloha Friday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of My Tais at Sunset. I'm Tai.
Aloha, I'm Mai. Happy Aloha Friday. I always like to
Pau
sing that.
Hana.
I set the intention that we are going to share a lot of laughs and a lot of positivity. Hope you laugh along with us.
I set the intention also that I don't keep on reaching for this bag of sweet and sour watermelons that are right next to me because they're kind of delicious.
Now you have some new things that I'm hopefully arrive in the mail that you can actually taste test on our next episode of all the things that I sent you. So I sent you the Furikake Chex Mix that we both love.
Addicted.
I send you Hawaii Cookie Company. They're chocolate chip cookies shaped like little pineapples.
Such a tourist trap, but those little pineapple shaped cookies are delicious. And if you've ever been to Hawaii, you know exactly where the free samples are. And if you don't, let me guide you. They're everywhere.
Actually, okay, so I can update you on that just a little bit. So my daughter's guest who came to visit, they went to go look for samples at Ala Moana at the cookie places. No samples because of COVID.
Because of COVID?
Yeah. But she did ask if they could take a to-go sample, which was a full-size cookie wrapped up, individually
Sometimes
wrapped.
they have broken cookies that they will give to you for free.
Those are usually the
Do you have any
samples.
broken cookies? I know. They're delicious.
But they're like, because of COVID, they stopped doing samples. And I was like, oh, that's sad because you could go into, I know you talked about it in a past podcast. You could go into Big Island Candies where they are famous for their shortbread cookies. Oh my God, the chocolate dip shortbread cookies. My favorite are the mint ones. Mint chocolate.
Yum.
Love those. And the dark chocolate and the white chocolate.
Dude, that's like every chocolate. Like,
I know. They also have a
That was all the
coffee
things.
one. The coffee one's a little strong for me, but it's also really good, especially if you have like a really nice cup of hot tea. Just delicious.
Yeah. I actually prefer Big Island Candy cookies over the Hawaiian pineapple.
The Hawaii Cookie Company.
Yeah.
Or
I don't even
there's
remember the
also
names.
a Honolulu Cookie Company. I mean, there's a bunch of them all trying
There's too
to
many
make.
cookie companies.
They're all trying to make the same kind of Big Island Candies cookies. They're kind of trying to copycat, but then those little pineapple shaped ones, I think those are unique and they're adorable.
Yeah.
Really, really cute.
Yeah.
What else am I sending you? I'm sending you Pickled Mango, which I made, and I will post that on our website, the full recipe, and I recorded it, so there'll be a video too.
Oh.
I know.
That's special.
That is special.
You're going to make everybody jealous. They're all going to be like, when are you going to post up these special boxes so that we can purchase them on mytaisatsunset.com? I think that's a wonderful idea.
Thank you for suggesting it. I'm going to have to do a lot of shopping.
Yeah, of course. Not subtle at all.
No, actually, a part of our website, we are building, it's connected to, I think, Shopify. So all safe shopping transactions. And we'll be able to start selling things. So maybe I will go and if there's a request from people, maybe post some ideas, things we talk about, and I'll get a small sampling of it and we'll sell it until it sells out. You do have to pay for the shipping. I always do flat rate. I always do flat rate.
I feel like everybody kind of knows that there's always this like shipping fee, but to have somebody actually curate certain little items, like I feel like Megan, Kari, maybe Brandy would even like a couple little care packages from Hawaii, Okay. I wouldn't even mind sending a couple people like Tommy a little sample out because he used to love like all the Hawaiian snacks. Like he was just like, when we went out, he was like, oh, I'm going to get this. Oh, I'm going to get this. I can see him smiling right now because he used to like just go and like do his little hands and like, let me dig in. So yeah, Tommy, I'll probably try to send you something.
Yeah, we'll do a curated list of some of our favorites. Oh, you got a doggy.
Special guest. Chippy showed up. He was like, I'm going to come upstairs and see everyone.
Fluffy.
Say hi, Chip.
Here,
come say hi. He just breathed into the mic. He was like, ugh. Sorry. Anyway,
Fluffy.
Special guest.
What was
Fluffy and
let me go back to my guest. So I know I said in the last recording it was a little weird because I had to help my daughter get ready. because her friend had such a serious to-do list. And I don't think my daughter's ever lived that kind of sightseeing ever in that intense level.
She never went on adventures with us because we would do some intense stuff too.
Yeah, but
when we do.
This girl had things like she would go like, let me just give you a day. I actually asked my daughter to write some of it down because I couldn't, it was impossible for us to remember how much she packed in. I mean, it was so impressive. Like one day, 5:30, they got up early to get dressed to go hiking at Makapu'u Lighthouse Trail. Then a couple of the guys wandered down to the tide pools, the dangerous tide pools. Yep. The rest of them went back up to the top, and when they came back down, that's when they met up with the other two guys who crawled back up. They went down to Sandy's Beach to go check out other tide pools. Then they went to Aina Haina Shopping Center to go get malasadas. Then they went to the next shopping center over, Hawaii Kai Shopping Center. They went shopping at Costco. Then they drove to Nico's in Honolulu to get the furikake ahi, which they loved.
Nico's.
I think they ate Nico's like 3 times in the 1 week that they were here. I know my daughter was with them for at least 2 of those times. So, in fact, this is too soon, but because she came home talking about furikake ahi so often and how much they loved it, I just wanted it too. So I was out shopping at Costco with my mother the other day, and I came across the most beautiful ahi steaks, like sashimi quality ahi. And I was like, oh, so I bought $50 worth of ahi, brought it home, and I made furikake ahi. And so I will post that recipe eventually, but it's super easy to make. You are just arms full of dogs now. You have another one.
I'm sorry. I heard the little bell coming, and I was like, "Oh no, she's in the middle of story time, and here comes little Cheeto Beats."
Another dog. Okay, wait, I'm gonna continue. Okay, so then after Nico's, apparently they went to go get Waiola shaved ice, which I don't know where that is.
Waiola shaved ice.
Yeah. Then they went to Ala Moana.
Yeah.
Then she dropped off 3 of the guys because they were staying at a Airbnb in Waikiki. They drove back where we live, and I had actually made Hawaiian dinner. I made lau lau and poi and lomi salmon, rice for dinner. I forgot the haupia. I was totally gonna make haupia. I should have at least cheated and bought coconut ice cream, but I didn't do that.
Haupia.
We stayed up till like midnight. Oh, you know what? After dinner, they went to Target, bought nail polish, stayed up late to paint their nails because
they did not.
They did because they were going to take graduation photos the next day, and the next morning we all got up at like 5:30 because they were going to go walk Kailua Beach, which I said is the most beautiful sunrise walk. So we knew that sunrise was going to come up at 6:11 a.m. So as long as they got there by first light, started walking. And I said, don't do the whole thing. You don't have that kind of time. I said, just go to Kalama's, which is halfway of Kailua Beach walk, and then just head towards Kailua Beach Park. So they did that. I actually went to Kailua Beach Park, and that was what I talked about the last time. They walked past me, and in fact, they didn't even recognize me. My own daughter. That's
hilarious.
I went to go up to her to take a picture, and she literally turned her head and thought that I was like a crazy person coming up to her. But her friend was walking a little bit behind her with her boyfriend, and she waved at me. She's like, "Hi," and I was like,
"It's so funny." Your own daughter didn't even recognize you on the beach.
She was
talking to some crazy tourist trying to take a picture of her.
She was talking with one of the other guys that were on there, and I came up with like my camera, like approaching her. And I was trying to take a picture of the group shot. No, she literally turned her head and tried to avoid me because she just.
Oh no!
I was just a woman in her peripheral moving towards her. And she just continued her conversation and walked past.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, oh my God. She just
Your daughter didn't even recognize. How do you not recognize you? You're pretty. Your hair is like pretty like obvious. You know, like there's things that are obvious about you that I would be like, oh, it's my. You know, like the hair, the smile. You're happy.
I just can't even imagine how I watched this happen. And she continued walking down the beach, and I was like, all right, never mind. I have things to do. I had to record video for our background video for that past episode. So that was literally, as soon as she passed me, I was like, well, forget it. I guess we're not taking, because we were going to take graduation photos. That's why I actually made the effort to get up early with them, go down to the beach, take pictures of them at the beach. They had their sashes for graduation because they didn't actually get to walk because they graduated in 2020.
Yeah.
So, and then this was their first time seeing each other in person. So whatever. I recorded video for us, and it looked gorgeous with all the people walking on the beach. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. And then they made it to the end of the beach, which is boat ramp. Then they continued walking up to Lanikai. I said, at least when you get to Lanikai, take a picture at that weird phallic point that's up there. And then not only did they did take the group shot, then they continued on up to Pillbox.
Nice.
And I'm like, wow. And they parked the car all the way at Kalama Beach. So
they had to walk all the way back.
Apparently, this is what happened. So they got up to Pillbox. A couple of the other guys walked. There's a couple more if you continue along the ridge. So they did that. And then my daughter, her friend, and her boyfriend came down.
Just for our listeners, though, pillboxes are old World War II bunkers that they would use as lookout places. Yeah.
Pretty heavy duty. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think they took one down.
Why?
Or they took part of it down. I don't know. Because it was like, I think it was decaying.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what they did. In fact, there was like a piece that jutted out, and people would always like pose like one-handed.
Pretend like they're hanging off of it.
They do those yoga poses, like they're standing over and out there. I think that's the part that they took off because it was crumbling, and they didn't want anyone to get hurt.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks for ruining it for the rest of us. No, I've been up there. I've taken some really good pictures up there.
Yeah, no, it was very beautiful. What else was I going to say? So they came back down, and then my daughter, this is where they came down. She says, I'm going to run into the ocean. So they went back down to boat ramp. She went swimming, and then her friend and her boyfriend walked back to the car. And then I get a call, and she says, can you come pick me up? And so I'm like, okay. So I picked her up, and I brought her home. And
they left her?
Yeah, they left her to go get the car. And then she said, I'm going to call my mom. I'm going to go home and take a nap. And so not only did she come home and take a nap, she slept for like all day. That was only, I think I picked her up and it was only like 9:00. Because it only took them like, it's only a 15-minute hike up Pillbox. And then, in Lanikai. And then to walk that part of the beach, I think was the longest walk they did, which I think takes, if they went slow, an hour, 30 to 45 minutes.
Right.
They're all pretty young and quick. So I think they did it in great time. But anyway, she came home and she went to sleep. And she didn't wake up for hours. Like it was just
carried on.
It was just too much. She was done. But
there's a lot to do if you are not looking to like spend a lot of money. There are a lot of alternative things to do where you don't have to spend a lot of money. As long as you don't park your car in a tow zone, I think you're pretty good. Because if you get your car towed, it's pretty expensive to get it back. I know this from experience because I accidentally parked down by the lagoon in Waikiki, and I didn't read the sign because I was going to the library at the Modern or whatever. It's a bar that's hidden in a library or something like that. And I didn't read it, and I came out and I was like, "Where's my car?"
Oh,
like
bummer.
What the heck? Yeah, it cost like $400 to get it out that night, cash.
Yeah, cash everywhere. And that was another thing they mentioned. Hawaii, you have to have cash, especially in a lot of places. It's cash only.
Really?
Yeah. So like, if you get your car towed, they may not take a credit card. If you are in need of a tow truck, they also want cash. I don't know why they don't allow people to just Venmo anymore. Or, I mean, now they should let you do that, but they didn't. And we did the swap meet, which I mentioned in the last one.
Yeah, definitely cash at the swap
You
meet.
have to have cash. There's a few that do credit cards, and they put banners out and they say, we take credit cards, so come over here and spend your money here. Yeah, so I found out why she loved the swap meet, what she went for. She found these cute tank tops that had embroidery on them, and they were just very simple. They were adorable. And of course, they were like, I think it was like 10 for $5.
Right.
Or 5 for $10. I can't remember. It was
something like that, probably.
She loved them, and I actually thought they were really cute. So I understand. Go and get them. But they were probably imported from
Indonesia or something, Vietnam.
Yeah, everything was imported. But I found out that the Airbnb that they stayed at in Waikiki was $300 for a week.
Wow, that's really cheap. But probably no parking, huh?
Parking they didn't do, but it would have been an extra $20 a day, which most hotels is $25 to $35 a day.
That's true. Well, at the Moana Surfrider, I know it's like $40-some a day valet.
Yeah. So I mean, $20 was nothing.
No,
they should have.
I would have paid for that.
Especially
you can get a rental car,
and it was 3 guys splitting that.
That's cheap.
That is so cheap.
I don't know what the accommodations look like.
It was a bedroom. The bedroom had air conditioning, and it had a kitchen. The boyfriend, her boyfriend that came, my daughter's boyfriend, he cooks. So he was really adamant about having a kitchen. So it had a full kitchen, a dining set, and it had it had 2 queen size beds, one in the bedroom and one in would have been their living room.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's simple. I mean, for me, I can either go full extreme rough it and camp, or I prefer like having a really nice hotel because you're sandy. You want to have like, a good shower. I stayed at the, the Prince Waikiki Hotel one time, and it's very Japanese, like tourist oriented, but man, it was like luxurious inside. The Moana Surfrider, great. It feels like you're actually staying in the palace. Like the rooms are kind of old and they open up and it's like the French doors with the bay.
They have wooden shutters on the windows.
Yeah, they do.
It has this feeling of old Hawaii, the Moana Surfrider. Halekulani is very modern, but decorated as in very tasteful, luxurious Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaiian style. Yeah.
Hawaii style of kind of homes and things, a lot of white, maybe some dark wood, and it's just very contrasting, but it looks so good when it's you have the palm trees and the flowers and the smell. When I stayed up in Turtle Bay, I've stayed in the cabin cottages before. That's like right on the beach.
Yes, love those.
And then I stayed in their villa, and I've stayed in their hotel rooms. The villa was amazing. 2 stories, very luxurious. I feel like you can have like a huge family there because big kitchen, 2 bedrooms, like all the things. But the cottages were really cool because it had a huge like jacuzzi tub, and you can open the doors and you like see out into the ocean. Have I ever told you that, they have the Triple Crown, like one of the, I think it's the Vans.
Yeah.
One of them.
On the shore.
But right at Turtle Bay in that area. And I was surfing it one time and I got stuck out there for a while. My mom was, my friend and I, we were surfing on these brand new boards. And I got stuck, and I didn't realize how much reef there was there. And we were catching waves and stuff, but after a while, I couldn't get out of the water. And my mom noticed, like, I was kind of like, getting tired and struggling because there was it was like the tide had gone in so much that it was low tide. We couldn't get out, and it took a long time for us to just finally scrape the bottom of the board and just to get out because I was like, I'm over it,
Yeah.
It's rough there, and it's unexpectedly rough.
Because you got to know where the reef is. Yeah. I've been paddling many times, and I've had to steer and trying to come in around reef is like, no, we're gonna scrape the boat against the reef, and you don't want to do that.
It's so terrifying.
You don't want to get stuck on a reef either.
No.
Didn't we get stuck on a reef in Kaneohe Bay? And we had to use that extendo stick to push ourselves off?
I think so. I think one time we got stuck near Flat Island. And the thing is, when I was paddling, I never wanted to be the steers person because I always felt so responsible for the boat. But I knew if I was the motor, right? You don't have to think.
You don't have that kind of stress. Even on our little tiny island, it would stress me out so much to drive someplace to look for parking. That's why I leave so early. And I love that you always wanted to drive for all of our adventures. And I'd be like, it freaks me out. It gives me anxiety to like have to get someplace so early to go
and
park.
Find parking.
And I don't know.
But we were always lucky.
Yes.
We were always lucky. We were like, you know what? There's going to be parking. And then there would always be somebody leaving.
I pray for parking every time I leave my house. I'm
so
like,
funny.
God, please let there be a parking space for me when I get there. Save it for me to like get there.
People don't realize like how hard it is to park in certain places. Even at Costco and Ivalai, it's like just really crowded.
It's really crowded. It's crazy.
And yeah, not fun.
Yeah,
not fun at all.
It gives me anxiety. And so this girl who she volunteered because she had the rental car. Of course, we have parking at our house. So she would drop them off in Waikiki, drive over the hill, and stay with us. But when they would do these early morning adventures, a few times I told her, have them Uber themselves over. But the Kailua morning, the one that they did, the sunrise walk, she got up at like 4:30. To go pick them up and be back at our house by 5:30. And it's a half-hour round trip. I mean, an hour round trip, half hour each way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if those guys really appreciate how much she did to make sure she was at each location, getting them there, getting them parking, especially how many times they were in Waikiki.
Yeah.
I know they did something silly in Waikiki, like across from wherever they were renting, there was a 7-Eleven that has customer parking. So she would park, and you only can park there for 15 minutes.
Right.
And one time they were so desperate and the guys were taking longer or something that they actually parked the car. Then they drove around the block when their 15 minutes were up and then parked again because they were so paranoid. I
remember at Whole Foods in Kailua, there would be somebody with a chalk and they would chalk the tires.
Yes.
To see how long you were sitting there. Yeah. And I'd like, you know what I would do? I would get in my car and move it back like 2 feet and then move it forward and then the chalk would be gone just to reset. But I mean, I never had a problem parking. I'm always pretty decent at it.
Yeah.
Like I always get lucky, but yeah, that's one of the pro tips about Hawaii. Hey, you know, I heard on the news that is it still Ige?
It's still Ige.
He told everybody stop coming to Hawaii.
He did.
Yeah, he did. I looked at your numbers and I was like, that's not good. But there's a lot of people coming from other countries and other areas. And I'm like, how are you going to stop that? You can't stop the economy.
Our
now
hospitals are full. That's why. And so, I mean, anybody who needs to have care, emergency care other than COVID is kind of SOL.
You got to fly out. You got to go to, but I mean, other places are a little bit full too. So, I mean, you are SOL and that's unfortunate. But I mean, we kind of expected this when we opened back up to, like, especially Hawaii. I mean, you guys are so isolated. Like, it's hard.
We're isolated. We have limited space everywhere.
Limited resources, for sure. Limited blood. You fly in fresh blood because, I mean, the island does not provide because there's not enough people giving. So you have to fly it in. I mean, that's when I worked in trauma. Like, we just didn't have enough blood products. I mean, that's something you have to worry about.
Yep.
Scary times. I mean, I have friends from all over the country and other parts of the world just telling me, like, it's bad. It's worse than it was, but we're not taking it as serious. And I was like, it's best to just wear your mask, try to get vaccinated if you can, and be safe. I mean, my mom and I went out the other day to a really great restaurant. It was packed.
Yeah.
It's packed. But they put us in the corner, and so I felt okay. And, you know, I, like, helped my mom out and stuff. But, yeah, I just feel like things are sort of back to normal in a way. But I feel bad that there's more and more people getting sick. But hopefully they recover soon. And we always send out good vibes and blessings to everyone. Make sure you stay safe. So I want to talk about a little bit something that happened to me today. I went in for it's called an EMG test, and it's electromyography. So I've been having some pain in my hands and my arms, especially at night. Those are telltale signs of carpal tunnel. And so when I went in for the test, I asked my mom, I was like, have you ever had one of these? Because she went with me. And she goes, oh, yeah, they did it on my leg when I was younger. And she was in a car accident where she broke her leg. Pretty bad. This was like in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
Okay.
So, you know, so she's had one before. And I'm like, okay. She goes, it hurt like hell. I'm like, what do you mean?
No fun.
What do you mean it hurts like hell, right? So I'm not expecting.
Test your nerves. Is it electrical?
Yeah.
It was zapping.
So it's electrical. And they had to use a needle. So here's the first part. The nurse tells me, oh,
she had it in the 60s. And between then and now, they haven't updated the technology.
No, they haven't updated the technology at all.
Oh,
it's pretty much the same
horrid
thing. So my mom's over there in the corner reading her People magazine. And the nurse is like, well, you have tattoos, so you'll be fine. Like, it's not going to hurt. You're gonna be fine. And I was like, well, I have a really high pain tolerance, right? So he starts putting leads on me, the doctor, the neurologist. He gets this like little machine and it has like 2 probes on the end of it. I'm like, oh, okay, what's going to happen? He goes, okay, you're going to feel some discomfort. And I'm like, all right. He puts it like on like different parts of my arm and my arm just like wigs out. And I'm like, you know, like I'm not expecting it, but it's painful. My hand was like convulsing, my arm. He did it right where your funny bone is. And my whole arm is like flapping like a chicken. And I'm like, oh my God. And the whole time my mom's like, she was like, I heard you. You were like not screaming, but you were like, blah, like that the whole time.
Out in the waiting room, wherever you were.
Yeah, she heard me through the wall, like, blah, because I don't scream. But I was just like, oh, this feels weird. So he finished that and he goes, okay, now we're going to do the needle test. And I was like, what's that? And he pulls out this big needle and I'm like, where does that go exactly? And he stabs it in my bicep and then like sends electrical currents. So my whole bicep's like twitching.
How far does he stabs
me right in the middle of my bicep.
Yeah.
On the back of my tricep.
But it doesn't go through.
It goes through my skin.
No, it goes through your skin, but it's not going like from one end through your arm.
No.
Okay.
But it's he sticks it in there. And so he sticks it in my forearm, then the top of my forearm. And then he does it on the other side. And I'm bleeding. Like all these little pinpricks are like bleeding down my arms. And I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Like that hurts, right? So finally he goes, okay, we're at the end, but this is going to hurt the most. And I was like, why would you save the worst for the end? Like you should always do that first. Because in my mind, if you do the worst first, you're too busy focusing on how painful it is here and not worrying about where the hell else it is.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, are you ready? I'm like, yeah. He stabs me and my whole hand swelled up. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but my left hand.
He stabbed you in the hand?
Right.
Between your thumb and finger?
Yes.
Oh.
Right where your pressure point is.
Really ticklish spot. Oh. It's so sensitive.
It's not ticklish. It hurt so bad. I was like, oh, like when he did, I was like, ugh. And he goes, okay, that's it. Like he did both sides. And I'm like, oh. And the whole time he's sending electrical currents, so my arms are killing me at this point. Because not only have I jerked like a chicken, like with its head cut off, but I've had needles like stuck into me and I'm bleeding. And he's like, okay, go ahead and put some pressure on all your wounds. And I'm like, I have one baby gauze that's full of blood. And I'm like, okay.
You don't have enough fingers.
So, all day I've had this massive bruise on my hand from him stabbing the crap out of me. But guess what he found? He says, you have really significant carpal tunnel on your left hand and wrist, but you don't, it's minimal on your right. And that's my dominant hand. And I'm like, but my fingers are not, like, I can't feel my fingers. And he goes, normally that's what happens. Like people are surprised, like your dominant hand doesn't have carpal tunnel, it's your weaker hand. And he goes, it's because it's weaker. Like when you're using it repetitively, it's not your strong hand, so it becomes weaker over time. So he's like, I'm not sure what your surgeon's going to do, but he's definitely going to have to do surgery on this side. He might just want to cut open and look inside on your right hand to see what's going on, or just do a shot again. And I was like, I don't know, as long as it's not as painful as whatever the heck he did to me, because now I know why, like, people back in the day, like, torturing would do, like, electric shock, or they would put needles underneath people's, like, fingernails and stuff, because it hurts.
Yeah. That's not fun. Not fun.
So, EMG, no thank you. Never again. I don't even care if my legs hurt. Like, no more. No more of that.
You know what? Somebody needs to invent new technology to figure this stuff out without electrocuting people.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to like come up with something new. I mean, even okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about the gynecologist. That the putting your legs on a stirrup and then this medieval torture device. Come on. We don't need to be doing that to women anymore. Let's find some new technology to like do these exams without
make it more comfortable. At least make it a little bit more comfortable.
Hurting ourselves. Come on, we need new technology. I see all this fancy stuff happening in the medical field. Just the basics need to be updated.
No, they're gonna be like, why change a good thing? I don't know. It's a good thing because a man invented it. I'm sure, 100% sure, a man invented that speculum.
Mammograms. And not only do women do them, men sometimes do them, and that is just flattening your breasts between large metal plates.
Yeah.
That seems so horribly archaic. Can't we come up with something new by now? Really?
It's uncomfortable as far as I've heard. I haven't reached that point where I have to do it, but I'm sure it's extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I hear the same thing. I haven't done it either. I'm freaked out though. I'm like waiting for the new technology. So please somebody invent it quickly.
I have no idea.
Was so impressed by my daughter's friends. I got to meet the guys. They checked out of their Airbnb and they came to our house, and they were so smart. And I'm just like, you guys are going to be the ones that are going to make the world a better place.
They're going to be the ones that create something more like Mo Better for women.
No, not them specifically. But I think, they're a sampling of geniuses. Like one of them is, I don't know. He's like an IT guy, super smart, does all that kind of coding things, I think, because he and my daughter were just talking code for a while. And I was sitting with her friend, and her and I were having a whisper conversation together as we were watching them speak code and software and
code.
Whatever computer engineering science words that they were talking to each other. And I was like, thank you she goes, he talks to me like this all the time. I'm so glad that they've met because now they can talk their special language together.
Interesting.
And then the other one does as an artist who I would have loved to have spent more time talking to, especially since he does NFTs, which I'm really interested in. And then there was one other guy, he works in permitting, building permits, things like that in California. So I was like, I know everything about permits in your office working as a realtor. I know I've dealt so many times working with our own Hawaii building and permitting offices. So we got to talk that kind of thing.
Amazing how many things like you have to go through in order to build stuff. Like permitting offices take forever. And then like if you don't have certain something, you can't build. They won't give you a permit.
Yeah.
Like out in the country, you have to have like all your septic checked and done and water. And it's crazy. I was like, what in the heck?
Everything you do, there's always inspectors that have to check everything, make sure everything's going to be, I guess, up to code perfectly.
Yeah, tip-top.
Especially like solar. Man, doing solar, there were like 3 different kinds of inspectors that had to come just to add solar to my house. And they're all different. So there's like there was one for the electrical, and I can't remember what the other 2 were for. I think they were one was building inspector, and I forgot the last one. But it had to like be signed off by all these people just to put solar.
Well,
fun.
At least you have it. I think some people have installed solar and the panels come through the roof because they're so heavy. I've heard about that happening before.
Well, they did a roof check. I mean, they really inspected everything to make sure that doesn't happen. But I know that I've seen video footage in hurricanes. Thank God that the hurricane that came was just the remnants and it broke up. But I've seen them fly off people's houses. But our solar, it's like I said, and that was like the first question I asked. I said, what happens if it flies off my roof? And they said, it's covered. We'll come out and replace it. We'll repair it.
That's cool.
Because we're doing a lease to own it or something like that. But they promised me that the service and keeping it going was for life. We hope so.
I'm reading something on our My Tais at Sunset.
Yes.
You don't have to keep this in the recording. There's a little bit of English language issues in our About Us.
Is it is it the About Tai?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were reading it out loud and I'm like, I don't know if that's right. I don't think I say it like that.
It's not right.
Yeah, go ahead and rewrite it in your best English.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's yours. That's about you. You can rewrite it as you like. Send me an update.
Y'all did good. I'm like, this is not right.
There's been some updates, yeah. Because in the coding discussion, oh my God, these two kids. So my daughter and the other IT guy that was visiting, my daughter's friend's boyfriend, he and her were like loading each other's websites and getting super excited about how fast things loaded. But there's like all this background things that she's told me what it is. I cannot remember the names of it because I don't speak that language. But it's complicated. And they understand each other. And I remember when he left, she was just like, that was so wonderful to be able to talk to somebody who absolutely understands everything, because she tries to tell me and I'm just trying, my eyes are open. I'm looking at her, I'm watching her mouth move, I'm hearing the words, but I really don't understand everything. Like she'll say things like Python, which I know is like something that is in the background that makes the website, or developer or something. I don't know. Web developers. They're both web developers.
Yeah, that's the new thing, though. Like, that's where a lot of our industry is going towards tech, developing, and so that's exciting. Like, the youth of tomorrow is already, like, so invested in it. I wish when I was growing up, I had more opportunities in tech, because that's something I've always been interested in. I just didn't understand the coding when I was younger, but now I understand it more because we're surrounded by technology and we have it in our lives so much,
She said something funny to me today. She said, you remember when you had your first WordPress site? I said, yes. She goes, well, there's some, and I was talking to her about Shopify, and she says there's another one that from back in the day was with the WordPress sites, which was more than 10 years ago. And she said, she goes, I'd like to learn a legacy language. And I said, that sounds so lovely, legacy language. But it was talking about like the background programming. And I was like, but it is a language. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That is beautiful. I've been actually working on learning a little bit more Spanish. There's a lot of kind of meat markets and taquerias nearby where I'm going to be moving to. And so a lot of them speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. And when I go in there to like order tamales or caldo soup, menudo or anything like that, they're always speaking to me in Spanish. And I totally understand. I had a contractor come out to my house to fix it. And he was speaking Spanish to me and I'm replying in English. And he's like, hey, you know Spanish? And I go, not really, but I understand what you're saying. For some reason, it comes in like in subtitles. It's weird. My brain is like processing because he's speaking Spanish to me about fixing stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Oh no, bring your nail gun. And I would like do this, the nail gun, like sort of kind of hand gesture. And he would be like, oh yeah. And then he'd start fixing stuff and still speaking Spanish. And I'm like, I understand. I wish I could reply. And so my mom got some caldo soup. So it's like their take on beef soup with like shin meat and everything with the bones in it. Mm-hmm. And the lady's like speaking full Spanish to us, like asking us, you want like cilantro, onions, lime, all the things, right? It's funny because my mom doesn't speak a lick of Spanish. Mm-hmm. And she tried to even say gracias. And it was really funny to listen to her because she has like an accent when she does it. But she also understood the lady too. She was like, yes, see? Mm-hmm. Like the whole time. So it's really amazing how I can see that people are always like, okay, learn a language, do this. And yes, I do want to learn the language to respect the culture. Mm-hmm. But it's also funny, just like if you don't even know a lick of any language, you can still sort of decipher what people are saying to you just by body language and like other nonverbal cues. And so I thought it was fun. I loved going into that meat market because they had so much food. It's always food. I feel like that brings it all together.
I think that is such a common ground, between all the cultures, every language spoken, all these people. It doesn't matter where you are. There's food in common. I mean, everybody pretty much knows what a chicken is. Yep. And everybody knows what certain spices are, and they might have different names. For like, I know we call eggplant, but in I think England they call it aubergine.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that. I'm actually allergic to eggplant. I just developed an allergy to it. Apparently, like some certain adults can be prone to developing an eggplant allergy. Because when I eat it, my throat starts to get itchy, and I'm like, oh, this is not normal.
Okay, you know that if it's not fully cooked, your throat will get itchy. I mentioned this about the taro. It has the same thing, that it has these crystals. Yeah. So it might just be that it has to be cooked longer. Because if it's not fully cooked till it's like super soft, it has these crystals in it that are super sharp, which I am trying to collect the photographs that my daughter took with her microscope thing. And I want to get that on the website, but it's super interesting that these crystals, and they are so sharp looking. And they will cut up everything. That's what cut up my hands when I was cutting the taro.
PSA of the week alert. Everyone, please be sure to fully cook your eggplant and taro.
Yeah.
That is all.
That's all. It's the same. Okay, so it freaked me out when she said, oh, she's a scientist. She goes, oh, by the way, those are the same crystals that form kidney stones. And I'm like, no, what does that mean?
Don't put that in your body. Oh,
what is it going to do when you eat it? Like, what? Now I'm freaked out.
The suffering.
Maybe it'll just pass through everything, and it was a while ago, and I've been okay. So you can't imagine how much water I started drinking like immediately when she told me those words. And I had cut my throat with the taro. I'm like, I'm just started drinking gallons of water just to make sure.
That is kind of scary. Yeah, I would not wish a kidney stone on anybody in the entire world. They're so painful. And some of the ones that come out of people's bodies are like huge and spiky. I'm like, really?
You'd hope for that much pain, it would be like a diamond.
Right? Like, here you go. This is like nature. Your body. Here is a gift for all your pain.
Oh, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to mention this. So you have to have like tickets to go out to Pearl Harbor, Arizona. I have to be honest. I've never been out there. I've been to Pearl Harbor, but I've never actually taken the tour to go out to the memorial. So we looked, I knew that was a thing that they wanted to do this one day. So I said, so the night before, I asked my daughter, just check to see if there's tickets. No tickets, sold out for the day that they were there. But there was tickets available on Monday, which was the day that they were leaving. And I think it was Sunday that they ended up out there. And my daughter and her friend weren't really interested in going out to the memorial. Yeah, because I think that they had already done it. So... it's right across the street nearby at the stadium on Sunday? The swap meet. She had to go. She's like, why don't you guys just drop me off here? And then you guys go do the museum and the tour. And so they dropped them off, and then they went to go check out the museum. And the boat, the ferry, even though it was sold out, and I guess people didn't show up. So they were able to get on the boat and go out anyway for free.
So for free. That's
sometimes
so nice.
Sometimes it's worth it to just go down and check it out. I mean, if you have the time. Yeah. If you have the time.
Of course. I mean, I feel like that's such a historic site. People should go out there and just visit it. There's a lot of memories and things.
While you can.
A lot of things happening in the world right now, and we should definitely say thanks and remember people who make sacrifices. And casualties of different wars, pandemic, combat wars, all kinds of things, all kinds of conflicts. So that's really a nice story. So that gives people hope that they can go out to the Pearl Harbor even.
Yes.
And you might get lucky.
You might get lucky just like that. Just go and check. It doesn't hurt to ask.
That's
and
true.
While you're waiting, you can go to the museum. There's a museum that's there you can go to.
And then pop by the swap meet right after.
I didn't know. I just heard this, that some of the veterans from that war who were on that ship, but there's I think one left still alive.
Yeah.
But the previous ones, every time they passed, they had their ashes interred in the same ship so that they could...
The Arizona.
Yeah. Be there with their
so sad. Yeah.
Fallen shipmates.
Oh. Speaking of hurricanes, yes. I know that you got the remnants of one. We have one coming our way, Hurricane Ida. Unfortunately, it's going to go right into Louisiana, which I'm very sad about because Louisiana cannot get a break. But today, I sent you a video. I was out on the land and I was standing under my carport and I heard thunder in the distance and I was like, oh, everything's fine. I'm going to build these shelves and everything. And the donkey was even standing at the gate watching me do all these things. All of a sudden, I see this this lightning must have struck maybe 200 yards away from me.
Whoa.
This other metal building. I see this lightning and I'm like, oh no. In my mind, I was like, oh no, it's going to be loud. Boom. Me and the donkey jumped out of our skins and ran. And I hurried up and ran to touch something more rubber. So I was right by the car and I was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to get struck by lightning. But I think it's really common to get struck by lightning out in the country because a lot of cows and livestock get killed by lightning strikes.
Do you have a lightning rod on your land?
No.
I think you need to put a lightning rod to protect your donkey and any other things and yourself.
But I sent you video and there's the shelves in there and they fell on top of me because this gust of wind just came out of nowhere and it literally blew me over. And then the shelving came down on me. I was like, really? This is
Were the containers full of anything?
The ones on the left in the video, the black and yellow, those are full of stuff. And those shelves stayed up. It was the smaller ones. I had not put anything really heavy on them yet because I was still building them. Man, right on top of me. And I was like, seriously? Lord, please don't hit me with lightning. Don't crush me.
Is this something that you need to protect for? Put foliage up, bushes, plant bushes to calm the wind?
I think I'm going to put tarps on one side behind the shelves that will connect to my carport. But either way, it was very adventurous because I literally, it was very much an adventure because I literally was just standing there oh, everything's fine. It's just going to be rain. No, it was heavy gusts, tree branches falling. And it only lasted for 20 minutes. And then I have this trash trailer. So I have all this trash that starts blowing away and rolling all over the acreage. And I have to run in the rain and go pick up all this stuff. It was so stupid. I just looked stupid out there. And the donkey was out there. I guess he's not afraid of the rain. Hey, and another thing. I sent you a picture today. I bought him another bucket.
Yeah.
And I put food in his new one, which was red.
Yeah.
And then I took the other one and rinsed it out and put fresh water in it. And I brought it back. You should have seen me trying to drive with that big bucket of water in the back. I was like, whoa, like that, because I could hear it slosh. I put it back and I put it on there and he put his nose in it, looked at me and was like that, just so disappointed that it was just fresh water. So later I pull back and my mom and I are kind of watching him. He eats a little and then he decides to take a little sip of water. And all of a sudden his tongue was hanging all the way out of his mouth. And he was just so happy. He drank that entire thing of water.
Aww.
Because he's never had fresh water in his entire life.
Oh no, that's so sad.
So now I set up a water bucket so when it rains, he will always have fresh water right there. Isn't that great? But he scoffed at me. He did not want that water.
Well, he didn't know what it was.
And then when he finally took a sip of it, he was like, "This is good stuff." And he drank it the whole time. And my mom was like, "Oh, his tongue is hanging all the way out." I was like, "Oh, he must like it." He was just happy. made my heart feel good. I was like, we take fresh water for granted, but it was interesting to see an animal who's never had fresh water drink water for the first time. So yeah, I didn't get it on video. Sorry, but just take my word for it. It was a special moment. Absolutely I love that thing. I love him.
He's adorable. I can't wait till you get to live out there with him full time. Is the house still too quiet?
Too. It's so quiet. But the air conditioning is wonderful. I don't have to be out there without any air conditioning anymore. So I'm like, yes.
But you do need a toilet. So I asked you I thought you said your toilet was coming in on Thursday, or sewer and septic, but not today.
Next week. Next week. Next Wednesday, the septic gets delivered, and then we'll have it installed by the weekend. So maybe have a working toilet and shower. That'd be great.
That would be great. I think that's the only thing holding you up.
It is. My washer and dryer are not hooked up yet. My microwave's ready. I bought a countertop ice maker. I have an ice maker on my fridge, but it's not working right now. But I bought the countertop one because it makes ice in like 8 minutes. So I always have ice.
Ooh, send me the link to that. My mom has one, but it doesn't do it in 8 minutes. Wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's fast.
Yeah,
I'll send you a link. But it's on sale. It was like only $109. It's wonderful.
Where'd you get that one from?
Amazon.
On Amazon? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Costco actually has them. So I think it was $139 for hers. So that's a nice savings.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. But the one I have is pretty. Now I've bought 2 of them. One's at my parents' house and one's at my house, and it's wonderful. Like just ice, instant ice. So, yeah, that's mostly it. I mean, I got my house fixed up. There's just a couple little things left, and I hung up a bunch of hanging stuff, like pictures, hooks, all kinds of things. So really, it's coming together, and I'm really excited about living out there and being at peace. I have my internet going in next week, so it's going to be good.
This is going to be good. I'm super excited. Okay, so I wanted to just mention, since we did talk about it's come back to my mind is spinning. So, you know how I said I might buy some things to put on our website that's Hawaii things curated? I think you need to go out and find some Texas things.
Okay, I can do that, and I can also visit the Chinese grocery store and bring back some really goodies too, because there's a lot of good stuff out there, and I will, and I can send pictures. I can take pictures of things. All right, fine, challenge accepted.
That, and then I also would like you to ask Mom or Dad if they have a really good char siu bao recipe. I've made it.
No,
I've made it a few times.
We don't make it. We buy it.
Oh, okay. Cheater.
Char siu bao, we make it. We don't make it.
There's no grandma recipe that is like lurking someplace.
We don't make no char siu bao. It's too much work.
Oh.
It's cheaper to buy.
My favorite Manahua place closed. So I have to go buy it. But I bought this one. Our Costco sells it as a 6-pack.
Oh my God, Costco has everything.
I know. They always have like local things, right, for each Costco. So I bought some, and I remember that I bought it 6 months ago, and it was so sweet, the inside filling, so I didn't like it as much. But I also did my cheater steam heating, which was you wet paper towel, and then you wrap it, and then you microwave it, and then you put a microwave lid on top, and you microwave it so it steams, and it was okay, and I wasn't thrilled. So it took me 6 months again to buy it again, because my daughter was like, I really want Manapua. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just buy it. So I bought it, and then I have a steamer, an actual, Chinese. It's aluminum. I don't know if it's Chinese. I bought it in Marukai at the Japanese store. Anyway, so it's aluminum, and we put it over a pan full of water, and it boils. And we put the manapua in there night and day. It was like it was just from the manapua shop, and the bao was so soft and fluffy. But the inside was it was like the sauce had migrated more out into the bread, which it needs. But I still think that the next time I do it, I will slice them in half, scoop out the char siu, and then do a new filling and then just kind of restuff them. Because the filling's not perfect.
You're really trying to make all these fun things.
I just want it to be better. I just want it to be better.
I want to be better. You are better. You are the best. Tell us about something that you recently made that I'm really excited to try. Go ahead, tell me about
I can't remember.
Pickled mango?
I can't remember the recipe for the pickled mango off the top of my head, but it was apple cider vinegar, rice wine vinegar, half cup each, and then sugar. I think a half a cup of sugar because the mango was, even though it was green mangoes, it was sweet. And then you have to buy lihimui, the full lihimui, which is the dried plum. And you toss that in. And then I did sprinkle in a little bit of lihimui powder. But I also sent you a large packet of lihimui powder.
Mm-hmm.
So you can add more if you want to taste. But basically, you heat the vinegar, which has a smell in your entire house when it immediately burns your eyes and your nose. It's like, oh, that's vinegar. And you pour in the sugar and you have to dissolve the sugar. And this is where you start to taste it, after it's dissolved, because you want it to have this sour sweet kind of flavor. And then you just pour that on top of the diced mango. And I did not know that you could peel a mango with like a potato peeler. It was like my first time doing it with that. Usually I've always done it with a paring knife. And I don't know how many episodes ago it was where I mentioned one of my favorite things growing up is, because it's it's more steps to make pickled mango, especially since you have to wait at least a day or two before you can eat it, because you really need it to absorb the flavor. But if you have a ripe mango, you cut it up and you put it in shoyu and vinegar and pepper. And I usually like the white tart vinegar, white vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that and black pepper, and you just let it chill. You have to have, everything has to be cold, and you just eat that. And my mom said the other day she made it because she was craving it. And she gave some to my dad. And she goes, I'm not sure that you've ever had this or if you like it. And turns out he liked it. So it was good. It's good. It's just salty sweet. You're just trying to have that balance, salty sweet.
Yeah. I'm so excited to get them. Like, I'm ready. My mouth is already watering. Yes. I'm like... Well, I'm excited to get your care package, and I know a lot of people out there would be very interested in having special packages curated by you of all things Hawaii. So look forward to that. Okay. The new blog should be out this week, coming up. So that's exciting.
That's you?
Yeah,
it's your turn. Okay.
I have all these things. You've given me like a full to-do list, like the blog, all things Texas, like curated items. You know what? It's just so much, but it's going to be exciting. I cannot wait to live out on the land full time, so I have more time to dedicate to my Tais at Sunset, and maybe even come up with some more country stuff. And the adventures are never going to end, because I will be inheriting so many more animals, I feel like. I mean, we have new baby chickens and all the things. They've doubled and tripled in size, and I'm overwhelmed with animals, but I love them. So,
and that is a lot of stuff. I wanted to say something really quick. Would it be too much? Because we're adding all of these things and new content for all of you listeners. Would you miss us terribly if we did our podcast every other week?
Yeah, they would. They're already saying yes.
You're answering for them.
They already say yes, because I know there's people out there who listen to us religiously every Friday or try to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. We really appreciate all of you.
She's trying to get out of it.
I know, because I'm excited to do so much more things for my Tais at Sunset. And
all right.
It does take longer for me to do the videos.
Maybe we could do shorter episodes.
We should do shorter episodes, but we seem to have so much to talk about. And it's hard to cut things out. And I don't know if people just really love to hear our voices talk about all the crazy, weird stuff that we come up with.
They want to hear what we have going on. There's a lot going on for some reason. You and I both have like so much stuff. I don't know where it comes from, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, thanks for joining us for another episode of My Tais at Sunset. Be sure to check us out on all kinds of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and continue supporting us. We really appreciate it on Patreon, and we always have special content for everyone. And again, check us out on mytaisatsunset.com. We'll be continuing to update it, and hopefully you'll enjoy the new blogs and all the adventures and videos that get posted.
And I think that's it. Until we meet again, ahui ho.